Carrie Moore with the Deseret Morning News. President Monson, as the church has become indeed an international church, obviously there has been concern about whether leaders in Salt Lake City who have been born and raised in Utah, for the most part, not so much at this point, but in years past, there's been concern about whether they are truly able to understand the needs of a growing international church. Obviously, with the announcement of President Uchtdorf as a counselor, that is changing, and I believe he may be the first non-native American to be a member of the First Presidency. Could you address whether that played any part in his selection as a counselor, and if President Uchtdorf, if you could address the question of how your role in the First Presidency will help members internationally possibly feel more a part of the LDS Church?
That's a multifaceted question. I'll do my best, though. I believe we're all encouraged to become more aware of international topics than years ago. I think the media has brought that about. Television, for one thing. And featured articles on, say, this country in South America or this country in Europe or in the vast reaches of the Pacific. And we're going ourselves more frequently into those countries. It's been my privilege in the years that I've been a general authority to go in almost every part of the world and bring back items that I have gleaned from that experience. And then our missionaries, my goodness, thousands upon thousands of missionaries. What is it, about 57,000 and more? They're going all over the world. And when they come home, that's what they want to talk about. And people listen and learn more about the countries of the world. There's no doubt in my mind but what we have a more adequate knowledge today among our young people particularly than we've ever had before about conditions worldwide. They're well armed and they're prepared to interface with regard country to country. I do plan to travel, incidentally. Traveling is difficult when you go for long stretches at a time, but you always come back refreshed, feeling that you've accomplished something. And I'd like to testify that I'm on my knees before I go anywhere in this world, that the Spirit of the Lord will be with me in the journey. And I can honestly testify that's been my experience time and time again.
Uchtdorf?
Yes, President Monson is, I think, the best qualified to make those international connections. And I learned quickly in the church, we're not representing a nation or a country or an ethnic group. We are, especially in the callings of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles or any representatives in such an important outreach to the world, we are representing the Church of Jesus Christ. We are representatives of Him. And that is the point. Of course, my wife said to me, she said, you don't have to worry about your accent because more than half the church is speaking with an other than English accent. So the church membership is going all across the world. And it's not, recently I was asked whether it's a global church. No, it's a universal church. It is a message of universal power. And it is the message which will connect and combine and unite and bless all the countries, all the nations, all the ethnic groups. And I think no one better than President Thomas S. Monson has such a feeling for the individual, for the needs of the individual, and for the needs of the nations around the world.
We have time for a couple more.
President Monson, John Hart from Church News. What is your posture regarding the broad spectrum of members of the church who are now considered less active? Do you have any comment to them?
Yes. Don't give up. We need you. And my purpose is to provide ways that we as active members can put our arms around those who are less active and bring them back to the fold. And I'm dedicated to that principle. I might say about President Uchtdorf, he knows every airport in this world, and therefore he has access to every country in this world. Doesn't worry about visas or anything else. He's an international man and a very competent one as his brother Eyring.
President Bob Evans again from Fox 13, forgive me, but over the last week since President Hinckley's passing, there has been a lot that has been going on in the church that forgive me, has not gotten the amount of attention from the church administration and leadership simply because of the need and the desire to pay tribute to President Hinckley. Coming from here, after this meeting, what will be the first order of business, the most urgent matter that the First Presidency, newly constituted, needs to address?
I believe naturally when a president is ill and when he passes, it behooves us to respect his memory. We were with him not more than an hour or two before he passed away. We knew the veil was thin and he was going. And I believe dignity and respect for our leaders require that we give adequate time for that important element. And let this church know that we appreciate all that President Gordon B. Hinckley has done and continues to do on the other side of the veil. If anyone thinks he's going to be idle over there, you might think again. He doesn't know the meaning of the word idle. And we're going to concentrate now on looking to the future and take step by step, carefully planned and carried out, and with the aid of the other quorums of the church. We're going to rely heavily on the quorum of the 12 apostles and the quorums of the 70 and the presiding bishopric. We meet together regularly. This is not just a one-man or three-man leadership situation in the church. These are very competent and vastly different individuals in their backgrounds and in their training. You can rest assured we'll be giving due attention to the present and the future, but not forgetting the past. For the past is prelude to the future.
President Eyring, have you got an exclamation point to put on the end of this?
I thought that's the exclamation point right there. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. I think you'll agree with me that there are probably no three men on earth that are any busier than the First Presidency has to be right now. We thank them for being here as we express our appreciation to each of you representatives of the media for your attendance. We look forward to many times when the First Presidency as a group or as individuals and you as individual reporters or groups might have the opportunity to exchange ideas and ask questions. We are aware that on Newsroom, and want you to be aware that you'll find some wonderful pictures of President Monson during his youth and the early years of his ministry, and many others that you can use to produce the stories about this historic occasion. Thank you very, very much for being here.
Thank you. Remember us in your prayers.